All right, everybody, we are live for the People's Pre-Fight Show ahead of UFC Vegas 54, and we're making history right now on the MMA Fighting YouTube channel because this is the latest start time for a People's Pre-Fight Show in the history of the People's Pre-Fight Show because it's 7 p.m. Eastern right now. Normally we start at like 5:30, maybe 6:30 at the latest, but never at 7 because the prelim started at 7:30, and we are in for a pretty long night. Jed Mishu, how are you, my man?
I'm doing great. I wish this had started a little earlier just because this week 11 fights is the sweet spot. Like, I think 10 is the actual perfect number, but 11 is okay. If this was a 4 p.m., even a 5 p.m. start time, everything would be majestic. Instead, it's still going to run really late, but at this point, it is what it is. Hopefully, the fights will deliver, and we won't have a Bellator 281 situation on our hands.
Oh, man. So you guys know how this works. If you don't know how it works, we're just going to answer your questions for the next half hour, maybe a little more, basically until whoever is ring announces the first two fighters. So we're just going to pretty much go in order here. Joseph Bozef has like 500 questions, but we'll start here.
Joey.
We're going to bounce around, talk about whatever. When will the UFC go back to Europe besides England, Poland, Spain, and France need the UFC? They're going to Paris, somewhere in France in September. That's the card headlined by Cyril Gane and Tai Tuivasa. So there you go. Let's see. I know UFC and ESPN 36 doesn't have, but already looking forward to BTL this week after Bellator last night. Do you want to just touch on Bellator real quick? The main event, because this got Twitter on. I very few times have you seen Twitter so fired up about a fight for like 35 minutes and then not a peep since.
Yeah. So I think the best way I can explain Bellator, and is swear to God, this is absolutely true. I was literally about to ask you, well, Mike, didn't you work that? Like, how do you feel about it? And no, I worked it. I legitimately worked Bellator. I watched the whole thing. I did our recap. I did the results, and I was dead honest, going to be like, Mike, you worked it. How that? That's how much of an impression that event made on me. It's like, all right, well, fair play to them. They were at least done by 6:30 or whatever time it was, because it was the London card, and they had really good pacing. I will say that, like, they didn't muck about at all. The co-main happened. Fabian Edwards, knocked out Lyoto in horrific fashion. And then they just moved right along. They kept it going really quickly. So I will give them that. For whatever reason, John McCarthy wasn't as bad on the mic to me until the main event, where he wasn't wrong, because in the end, Logan Storley did win the judge's decision. But his supreme confidence that this was a 50-45 Storley fight was just weird. The narratives were weird. It was all dumb. It was all incredibly expected too. So yeah, the best part of it was Scott Coker being mad that he sucks at matchmaking. Well, that wasn't a win. You got to try and hurt somebody. Cool. What did you think was going to happen, Scott? I said this on BTL when you told me live that this was the thing that they were doing. You told me, and I was like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Why are you making an interim belt when Amosov's doing that? By the way, also we'll say, great video package. Love that Bellator just didn't explain what was happening. Like, yeah, Amosov is defending his country. From who? Aliens? Say it. Say the words. You don't have to be like, oh, he's a hero, but we don't want to ruffle any feathers. Say he's defending his country as Russia invaded. You can say those words. So it was all stupid. It was all dumb. And it was all incredibly foreseeable. And we got exactly what most people would have expected we would get.
Yep. You said what you said. I said they could have just put MVP in there with anybody in the main event spot. Anybody else. Like literally anybody else. And it would have worked just fine.
And it's not like they had to do Storley. He's 4 in their rankings. Just do any human. Any can. Give him a can to crush. The whole pretense is to get this man a title in London, in his hometown. And instead you give him a matchup that at best is going to be an awful fight. And that he wins garbagely. but more likely it's going to be an awful fight that he loses. It was so dumb. Bellator is, I feel like they're a Banksy piece of art right now. Like they are intentionally trying to do the worst thing at all times. And it blows my mind that they are still ostensibly the second biggest promotion in the sport.
2 really awful main events in back-to-back cards, 4 titles. And while I love me some Gegard Mousasi, he is fighting Johnny Eblen next month. And there's a very good chance that Johnny Eblen can wrestle Gegard Mousasi for 25 minutes. And we could see a very similar type of fight this time around. So it could be 3 horrible main events in a row. Luckily, Gegard Mousasi, I don't know. He's on this little bit of a run right now. Maybe he can make things exciting. So I'm going to just pull 2 questions. Basically, they're basically the same premise. We got UFC 275, light heavyweight titles in the line, Glover versus Yuri Prochazka. And then also the women's flyweight title is on the line, Valentina Shevchenko versus Tayla Santos. Could the winner of the main event or the winner of the Andrea Lee, Viviane Araújo fight be asked to be on standby for that June 11th card, maybe step in if something happens to one of those 4 participants?
I strongly doubt the winner of the main event could be, just because it's a really short turnaround and this fight will probably be long. Like I think that fight is going, I have Rakic by decision. And unless Jan, legendary Polish, powers him out early, I think that fight is very, very likely to go at least into the championship round. So that seems like a very tough turnaround to have them be on standby for, especially if Jan wins. Maybe Jan would be a little more interested in doing it because it is an immediate shot back to a title. If Rakic wins, I don't think there's any way in hell he should do that because he's probably going to get a title shot. So I would say no for the main event. For, what was it, Araújo, Andrea Lee? Was that the other one? I mean, that wouldn't be the worst idea. I would also say that I suspect that to be a 15-minute, really hard-fought battle. So that might, again, be a quick turnaround. But especially for both of those women who aren't like banging down the door for a title shot, you know, it wouldn't hurt for them to put that out into the ether and see what could come of it.
Yeah, if Andrea Lee wins, she has a pretty good case. Of course, we got to wait till July 2nd because I feel if Miesha Tate beats Lauren Murphy, then she's getting the winner of that fight no matter what. So what if Jan Blachowicz loses tonight, Jed?
I mean, I think that's the most likely outcome. Certainly the sports books believe it's the most likely outcome. And I don't know. It'll be really interesting to see how he loses will matter some. If he loses, it probably does signify that he is done with title aspirations. Just because, I don't know, he's 39, I'm pretty sure. So that's very late in the game. I mean, obviously Glover is currently a champion, but Glover is on the outlier side of things, and the division is getting younger, so it's not getting any easier for Jan. So if he loses this one, that's probably done with his title aspirations. And then he sits in a really weird way, like a very interesting space in the sport, because if he wants to keep fighting, sure, he can just kind of fight other light heavyweights, you know, maybe the winner of Magomed Ankalaev, Anthony Smith, assuming that if Rakic, you know, wins, he might be the guy who gets slotted in. But it's odd because there aren't like a ton of super fights for him out there, because for whatever reason, Jan Blachowicz, just UFC champion, I don't feel like he gets the respect that other kind of champions, other people in the super fight sort of realm exist with. So, I mean, you know, just keep fist fighting for money is my guess.
I feel like you're the right person to ask. Check out No Bets Barred. You still got some time before the main card starts. Jed, Mike Slack has $10. What's the best bet to play?
$10 and the best bet to play. Give me a second to pull back up my bets from the thing. Because, and I also have to figure out if the lines have moved in the last 2 days. It depends what you're looking for, buddy. So what you were looking for is you want to turn $10 into $10 million. You can't, that's not possible. But if you're trying to go bang for the buck, get as much, the most money possible, I think a fun prop that I'm in on right now is Smolka by submission, and I got that at like plus 700. So I think it's probably still somewhere around that. And I think I think Smoker probably is going to lose, but I think he actually has a pretty decent chance to pull off a sneaky little sub there. But if you're just looking to turn $10 into $12, Caitlin Chikagian by decision. That is the bet I feel the best about, because it's Caitlin Chikagian. She doesn't do anything other than win decisions. And the fact that her by decision is plus 110 currently on DraftKings is categorically insane, mainly because she is a minus 160 favorite over Ribas. So again, Caitlin Chikagian has literally never finished anyone in the UFC, and she only has 3 career finishes. So I don't understand the discrepancy in that line. Like, she should be minus 160, which I think is pretty close to accurate. And to win by decision should be minus 125. I don't understand.
Yeah. The silver medalist, I think, in this conversation, if you're going by the same route, is if we're looking for value here, Nick Maximoff to win by decision is plus money right now, even though he's like almost a 4-1 favorite in this fight.
Is it really plus money?
Plus 120.
I feel like that's probably because he is a better grappler than Petroski, and Petroski kind of can get tired. So, you run the risk of him catching a sub later in the game, but it's certainly not a bad bet.
Absolutely not. We are live, whoever asked. So who you got for Maximoff? Petroski? Fight's a low-key banger.
Maximoff. Berberwan, I got to be honest with you, bud. I don't believe this is a low-key banger. I think that there's a very high likelihood that Maximoff sits on him for a while, and that's how this fight looks. Because, I don't know, you get guys who can grapple, and both dudes can grapple. Maximoff is a better grappler. Either it's bad striking, and I don't see that being the case, or like we don't usually get like fun rolls for whatever reason. I doubt that's what happens here. I think Maximoff's just going to be better, and he's going to have top position a lot, and either ride his way to a decision win, or Petroski tries to make something happen, starts getting tired, gets tapped later in the fight.
Yeah, I think Maximoff has been grappling with much better grapplers than Andre Petroski over the years, whether it be in submission grappling, even certain opponents he's faced in the UFC and outside of the UFC. So he's been in there with some good grapplers already. Cody Brundage is a really good wrestler. He's a really good wrestler, and Nick wrestled him to death in that fight to win it. So do you think Iwan Kuchalaba could transition into hosting an anger management podcast?
I don't know. Is he an angry dude? He looks angry, but I'll be honest. I know very little about Iwan Kuchalaba other than that he looks like Moldovan Joel Edgerton.
Yeah, he looks angry when he does the face-offs, and he's angry in the first round of all of his fights.
And that one time he painted himself green to be the Hulk, which was pretty dope.
That was pretty cool. Dope. What's the best prelim fight outside of Andrea Lee, Viviane Araújo? Because I feel like that's the correct answer.
I don't know if that's we talked about this on BTL, and I don't think that is the correct answer. I mean, it is like from a math standpoint and from pace, but I actually think that there's a real chance that fight sucks. Like, it'll be fun later, but I think there's a chance Araújo sits on her for 10 minutes, and then that won't be that exciting. If she can't, then that is the right answer. But I'm going to say Michael Johnson and Alan Patrick, even though I think Verna Jandiroba, Angela Hill has a lot of opportunity to be really fun as well. Both men's backs are theoretically up against the wall. Alan Patrick doesn't know how to strike like a normal person. Like, he just does big, dumb, flashy things and shoots takedowns. And Michael Johnson is usually okay at stuffing takedowns, but also can get taken down, and he can get submitted a lot. So I think that's going to be very, very silly. And I'm here for a very silly fight.
That will definitely be a silly fight. Tristan Gordet, who you got, Jandiroba or Angela Hill? Read Guilherme Cruz's article on Verna. Seems like she's locked in. This is a really interesting fight because I'm trying to see what's the line on Angela Hill. Plus 175. There's some that's kind of yummy looking. I know she's been on the wrong side of split decisions many, many times. I like Verna a lot, but I think Angela's fought way better fighters than her and has gone to split decisions with them. I feel like this is the time, Jed Bashut. Oh, by the way, did you ever find a split decision line on this fight?
We did. It's not that high. It was plus 450 or plus 500.
I thought it would be.
It should be much thicker than that, but it's not. And that's because Vegas gets really afraid when something like this happens. And so they just like that line is don't bet this. We don't want to take action on this. So back off it.
Yeah. I think Angel Hill's got a chance to win this fight.
Plus 400.
Plus 400?
That's what it is right now. Yeah, I have a bet on Angela Hill by decision at plus 225 because I think if you're going to bet Angela Hill, you should just go ahead and bet her by decision. And I think she's got a really good chance to win this fight.
Will Smolka's new haircut lead to a win? I know you mentioned the tasty Smolka by submission prop, which is actually a pretty good dog prop because I'm with you on this one. If he's going to win, it's probably how he's going to win. Yeah. So will the new Elvis Presley hairdo lead to a victory?
I didn't see his new haircut, so I can't speak competently to this.
Just imagine Elvis Presley.
Just a pompadour, just out.
Oh, yeah. It's like poofy. It's black. It's thick. I mean, it's lettuce, man. It looks like a wig, but it's his real hair.
I support the style involved there. I think that's just tremendous. But I think he has a real chance to win anyway, because I'm very not sold on Davy Grant. I think Davy Grant is good, but I think Smolka has a little underrated at this point. So I think he does have a chance to win. My guess is that if he wins, the hair is not the factor. It's mostly that Davy Grant does something dumb and gets caught in a submission because he's been submitted a lot.
Which fighter in the main card tonight will have the fastest finish?
Ooh, now that's a fun one. Where are you at here, Mike?
Let me take a gander at my predictions for this main card. I have Torres and Kuchalaba getting first round finishes. Is who's going to get it first? I'll go with Torres.
It's not bad. I also have both of them. As I'm pulling up mine, both of them getting first rounds. I'm gonna say Kuchalaba. I think Davy Grant is like the smart money answer here, because frankly, like since he's come back, the 6 fights since he's been back in the UFC, Louis Smolka hasn't seen a third round, and 4 of them finished in the first. So he like I say, he's the definition of get or get got right now. So I think Davy Grant's probably the smart choice, but I don't know. I sort of like, Kuchalaba's dude comes out really, really aggressively. Ryan Spann can be a bit of a slow starter, and I sort of like Kuchalaba to just try and run him over early. And if he can't, then things could be trouble, but I kind of think he can.
I mean, I think we got multiple cases for this question over the last few weeks. Should every promotion implement yellow cards? I think a lot of these fights look different that have been duds. The biggest reason the Rose versus Carla fight sucks is because the ref allowed it to suck.
I don't like the Pride yellow card because I don't like almost any situation in which you're taking money from fighters. I think that there is a clear way to fix this that other combat sports use, and specifically wrestling. It's timidity. Like the ref says, hey, action. And if you don't bring action, he decides which of you he thinks is being the more timid fighter. And then you're on a shot clock in wrestling to score points. I think it's 60 seconds or whatever. And if not, the other guy gets a point. I think you could adapt something similar. Hey, do stuff. Okay, you aren't doing it. Pause the action. You're on the shot clock. Rose Namajunas, do something. Like show me or I'm taking a point. And that's it. And you do a point deduction. I think that broadly speaking, the 10-point must system is dumb in construction, but we don't need to get into that. But we have 10 points. There are 10 of them. And we only use 3 of them, which is also very stupid. Might as well just make it a 3-point must system, because we barely ever even use the 10-7 round anyway. So it's all very dumb. But if you're going to have 10 points, use them. Ref should take points. Every foul, take a point. I don't care. People will foul less if that becomes the stakes to it. Hey, you're not doing anything. You have 4 seconds to make me believe you're about to do something. I'm taking a point. Just take a bunch of points. It seems really simple to me to use all the points and then make fights better as a result.
Why does everyone want Oliveira to fight Makhachev and Chandler just gets to fight for another title? I don't think I understand this question. Why everyone wanting Oliveira to take Makhachev and Chandler just get to fight for another title.
I have no idea what that means.
Yeah,
I don't think anyone wants, other than Michael Chandler, wants Michael Chandler to fight for the title. Everyone wants Islam to fight because he is, I would say, very close to inarguably the second best lightweight in the world, if not the best lightweight in the world. Not on accomplishment, but he is a betting favorite over every other person on the planet that weighs 155 pounds.
Kia parlay. Maybe to the $10 on the Kia parlay, Jed.
Oh yeah, $10 on the Kia parlay is the most fun way to do it. But I'm taking Viviane Araújo to beat Andre Ali, so I'm not in on the Kia parlay. But I mean, I could totally be wrong about that fight, and I feel really good about Chukagian's chances to win. So Kia parlay.
Yeah, I think you guys understand what that reference. Andre Ali and
they both Kia.
Kia. Let's see. Jose. Oh, that image is just not right. Do you think Jamal Hill versus the loser of the main event can happen? Now, Jamal Hill is already fighting Thiago Santos in a main event. Is that the June 4th card?
I have no idea the timing.
It's one of those fight night cards where he's fighting Thiago Santos.
Why? Why are we putting Thiago Santos in main events? What are we doing? Like, 4 years ago, that fight would have been awesome. Hell yeah. These two dudes are just going to chuck mitts until one guy falls down. And now, Thiago Santos sucks to watch. And I'm sorry if that's harsh, but none of his last 5 fights have been watchable. Freaking terrible.
Including the John Jones fight in Jed's mind, who believes Jed, because Jed did say earlier this week on MMAfighting.com, best website in the world, that
best website in the world,
John Jones, Thiago Santos
one of the worst fights of all time.
One of the worst fights ever.
I will speak to that for just a moment because people got heated. Because people don't really understand content or like being interesting. I get it. You guys are all boring. That's fair. It's not fun for 5 of us to say, yeah, Carla Rose sucked. That's not a compelling thing to read. And so, it's worth it to maybe consider different definitions of the term worst. And so I agree with all of you. I would rather watch John Jones versus Thiago Santos than Carla Rose 2 or Severn Shamrock 2. But I have never hated watching a fight nearly as much as I hated watching John Jones refuse to try and take down a man who could have been knocked over with a stiff breeze because he didn't have functioning knees. Like, that was really frustrating. And to me, I would rather be bored than frustrated. And so I think there's at least an argument that it is the worst fight. And I'm sorry the rest of you are boring and can only think in very linear fashions.
I don't have sound effects, but I would play some sort of applause sound effect if I did. Casey's on vacation. That's why we're on the StreamYard here. Of course, the main event is going to perhaps impact the futures of one of these two gentlemen. Who wins, Glover or Yuri?
You are really trying hard to sell me on Glover. You're not trying hard, but like your natural confidence is doing wonders to make me think, well, I mean, if he just gets one takedown. But I cannot shake the fact that this shouldn't work because it shouldn't, because it's not, he's a very good grappler. I'm not saying he's not, but like, he's not Khabib. It's not like he gets one and he's going to kill you. That is how it's been happening, but it doesn't make any sense why everybody in every other division can figure out how to get your back to the fence, leverage and wall walk up, and light heavyweight just is stuck in the year 1994. Like, it's shocking to me how effective he is at holding people down because they simply are sort of like allowing it, or like Jan weirdly diving on a Kimura grip to, like, after getting his ass beaten round 1 on the ground. It's like, let me go for this stupid Kimura. Like, it just blows my mind and it can't keep happening. So I'm taking Yuri now. Maybe I'll change it because I think if he gets tackled, he can just shove Glover's head away and stand up. Derek Lewis stands up all the time by just saying, I'm standing up now, and no light heavyweight can figure it out. It's baffling.
Glover Teixeira, first round submission. You heard it here first. You've heard it here for 5 months now. Actually, more than that.
You have been consistently on this hill, and I respect you immensely for it.
Since October of 2021, I've said Glover first round submission, and I've not changed my stance
It's
one
entirely
bit.
possible. It's entirely possible.
Does Amanda Hebos stick around at flyweight, win or lose, or is this just a fight for her to keep busy? Now, she also spoke to our own Guilherme Cruz, and she seems like she likes being at 125. Easier weight cut. She feels stronger than ever. And if we're being honest, her path to a title, especially with the win over Katlyn Chookagian, is much faster at 125 than it is for her at 115. Do you think after this, her next fight will be at 125 no matter what happens tonight?
I think if she wins, it'll be at 125 because she will be in the immediate title conversation. I think that I'm great for her because everybody should move up one weight class. Like, you'll just be a healthier, happier fighter. I think I've never felt stronger is going to run into a roadblock called you're small and you can feel more strong in yourself. Great. And you probably are because you're not drained out, but you are giving up a ton of size to Katlyn Chookagian, and you're going to not feel all that strong when she's just not letting you do things. And then she'll be like, oh, yeah, I'm 6 inches and probably 10, 15 pounds lighter here on fight day. That's not sustainable. I'm going to go back to my real weight class. So I suspect that she will go back because I think she's going to lose. If she does win, then for sure, stay up here. Why not?
And if she's competitive, if it's like a close split decision, yeah, I mean, why go back down? I mean, that's taking Katlyn Chookagian to a close split decision. It's not shocking, but still,
there's a reason.
It's good.
There's a reason to go back down. Probably not for her, just in general, because of how outside of a title shot she is. But like, blood's in the water at 115 right now to get a title. No, I mean, I would want to say no disrespect, but there's no real way to make it not disrespectful. I think there are 4 or 5 women in that division who could take the belt from Carla, and it's going to be a race to whoever gets the first crack at her. So, we've seen this time and time again. Michael Bisping, George St. Pierre came out of retirement because he could beat Michael Bisping. I do not care. Like, you can spin it however you want. 1,000%. He was like, oh, I could just go win a free belt. I'm going to do that real fast.
A lot of people complimenting the shaved face, Jed. So nicely done. I'm at that point. See, I grow this like little thin beard, and it's like Corey Matthews talked about his hair on Boy Meets World. You grow it out, you get a haircut, and then eventually it looks good for like a day, and then you have to shave it again. And that's where I'm at. Like I shave it, it grows back in like a week. It's like, it looks good for a week. And then it grows a little more and it gets a little awkward, and then shaving it, I hate it. So I have to find like a middle ground, and just dropping it to a 1 doesn't work. Like it's a whole process with my face. But anyways, what do we think about Jake Hadley by sub at plus 450?
First, I want to say, Mike, so we're clear, and so everyone who is watching, this is not intentional. I don't grow a beard. I just forget to shave because I work from home and don't go out in public. So it's like I don't need to do this. And then I had a thing I had to go out for this week. So it's like, oh, I should not look like a hobo. That's a bad choice. I should shave this. So, what was the question? Hadley by sub
at plus 450. Do you like that line?
I mean, it's not awful. I wouldn't bet it, mainly because I have no real confidence in the outcome of that fight. I think Hadley's going to win. But Nascimento is not a bad fighter. Hadley has shown some weaknesses. I think he is better on the ground, but I could also see it being a TKO. I mostly avoid betting fights on guys who are new to the UFC, even with that kind of background that Hadley has as a Cage Warriors champion. But I mean, you could do worse things.
Johnson fight, bet the under. Both are easy to finish. Yeah, it's not a bad idea.
Well, I mean, oh, wow. I was about to say, I want to see what the line is. Under 2.5 is minus 145. That actually isn't bad at all.
Yeah, that's actually a good way to look at it.
That's not bad.
Did you make the dumb bet and bet on the Spann fight, or did you stick to your guns and say no?
I did not bet on Ryan Spann. And let me tell you, I'm off today, so I don't have to watch these fights tonight. I probably will have them on and watch them. but I can't tell you how excited I'm going to be to not be sweating Ryan Spann in the co to not feel obligated to stay up the whole time just to see if Ryan Spann ruins my evening or not.
See a lot of what do you think of this parlay, Jed? Tyra and Maximoff.
I think that's going to cash. That's the exact sort of bet I will never make. I went against my better judgment to include Nick Maximoff in a parlay with Chukagian Hebos goes to decision, which I think is a fine bet. But again, Maximov is just, they're both so rookie, so early in. And both guys have shown, I mean, Tatsuya Taira has fought a lot of high level competition, but they're kind of on the older side, making his debut. I think it's going to cash. It's just not a bet I want to be involved in with people who I have a lot of question marks about.
I'm predicting that bet cashes as well, but I am a little less confident in the Tyra one. I feel like
Candelario's okay.
Yeah, he's a grinder, man. He's tough. Like, there's a very good chance Tyra just runs him over in the first round, submits him. But Candelario's been in some tough spots and has been able to overcome pretty much every time. Because even the loss he has is on the Contender Series, and everybody thought he won that fight, including Dana White, which is why he got a contract. What do we think of Dricus du Plessis? Does South Africa finally have a chance to have a good representative in the UFC? I think so,
for sure.
And the UFC obviously has faith in him because he's fighting on the International Fight Week card against a ranked fighter. So,
is Brad Tavares?
Yeah.
That's like the worst fight on that card, which says a lot about that card because that card is dope and that fight is not bad at all.
I think we answered this a couple times, but do you think Michael Johnson needs a win for his career? Is this his career on the line with this fight? His UFC career.
I think his UFC career probably is. I've come around to change my mind. If he loses, this would be his 5th in a row. And if he loses, he's probably going to get finished. So, yeah, I think if not for his whole career, because I think he can just go. He just go to Eagle FC. That seems like a very clean path forward for him. Or, I mean, BKFC, if you want to do that. Dude likes to chuck mitts.
There you go. Hey, McLovin, there's nothing I can do about it. All right. The broadcast has begun, but no fighters have taken the octagon yet. So there you go. Can we talk about the most nonsensical fight that has ever been uttered? Poirier versus Wonderboy. So if you've noticed it, Poirier has called on everybody for the smoke on July 30th in Dallas. And Wonderboy has said, okay, let's go. And then Sean Brady said, or Wonderboy, you can fight me. And then Dustin Poirier said, Sean Brady, I'll fight you too. So Poirier, Wonderboy, Is there any heat there? What do you think? Is that one you'd be interested in?
Yeah, it was one of those fights where it was like, that's a fight I'm interested in, mainly because it's a fight I've never once considered before. And I like fights like that. You get them every once in a while. It's like, that is something sort of unique and different because even when you think of Poirier going up to welterweight, it was a Nate Diaz at 170 or whatever. I think moving up to welterweight is the natural progression for Poirier at this point in his career. He's not going to win the lightweight belt. He is not a small lightweight. He hits pretty hard. I think his game can translate roughly well, especially if he adds a little bit of mass. And that's a very winnable fight over a ranked guy. Now, it's also a losable fight, and that's what I think is fantastic. But it's not Dustin Poirier fighting Hamza Chimaev, right? Or whatever. Because, I mean, like, again, I'm going to sound like the world's biggest Gilbert Burns hater because I have historically not said nice things about Gilbert Burns, not to be mean about Gilbert Burns, but the fact of the matter is the fact of the matter. Gilbert Burns was a very good lightweight who never really was an elite lightweight. And he moved up to welterweight, which is an objectively worse division than the best division in the sport. And he became the motherfucking man. Like, he is one of the top 5 dudes in the sport. And Dustin Poirier was a much better lightweight than Gilbert Burns ever was. And I think he can similarly do extremely well competing up at welterweight, especially if he does make the move. Then I know that he doesn't want to do this, but there is some heat to a Poirier-Colby Covington fight somewhere down the line. And especially if he is trying to make a title run up at welterweight, because if he comes up and beats Wonderboy at welterweight, he's in the top 10. And then maybe he says, I don't want to give Colby this shine, but I do want to give him this smoke. And if he beats him, then hell, that's a title fight. Like I think it's a great move, actually. It's a fight I've never thought about, really interested in.
Yeah, Poirier also called out Colby, but I don't think we'll be seeing Colby.
Poirier was also a much better lightweight than Jorge Masvidal. Let's also be very clear on that. Like, and Michael Chiesa. The top 10 of welterweight is populated by dudes who were not that great lightweights. Poirier was a great lightweight.
Tatsuro Tairo said, of course, he tells me he's going to have a better debut than Muhammad Makhachev. You're saying no to that.
Well, how could he? He can't have a better one. He can at best tie it.
Well, if he doesn't fit, what if he does in 50 seconds instead of 59?
Is he also going to be a wildly handsome 20-year-old who then drops heat on the mic after? You just can't. Like you're not going to be that dude.
He's just
gonna have a great one.
Yeah, he could have a great one. Yeah, I don't know if he has. I don't know if he has that spunk. I mean, listen, they have between him and his translator, they're very delightful people. So it'll be a very positive post-fight interview. Let's see. This thing just jumped on me. Frig's sake. Is Thiago Santos the new top 10 gatekeeper at 205?
I guess. I don't know where he's ranked right now at 205 in the UFC's rankings, because their rankings don't matter. Well, he's not a top 10 gatekeeper because the UFC has Jamal Hill ranked at number 10. But he does feel like he is doing that thing. This is why I hate the way that the UFC matchmakes, though. Like, he should be fighting a dude who's not in top. He shouldn't be ranked as high as he is because he hasn't won a fight in ages. And he should just be fighting someone a little lower down, because if he adds another one, then it's just a slow decline. Like Tony Ferguson isn't a top 10 lightweight, but he just keeps not being knocked out because he's not fighting guys who would supplant him.
Who wins, Strickland or Pereira on July 2nd?
I assume Strickland.
Yeah.
I'm not sold on Pereira, but
I'm going to scroll on the bottom
if he does,
see if we get one more. Andre Petroski is making the walk right now. Let's play 2 quick games of prediction. One, who will win bonuses tonight?
Bonuses. I'm going to take Ion Cutelaba because I think he's going to get a first round finish. I'll just go ahead and say Manuel Torres because I also have him winning in the first round, though less confident there. And fight of the night. Nope. David Grant, Louis Smolka, fight of the night.
Torres, Grant, Smolka. Grant's going to be a very happy man after tonight. He's going to have,
I think,
show.
Yours are very, very possible.
Yeah. Now we just do our main card predictions. So let's pull them up real quick. Jake Hadley, Alan Nascimento. Jake Hadley minus 200, Alan Nascimento plus 170.
What is my, hold on. I have Hadley by decision.
I also have Hadley by decision. Manuel Torres minus 135, Frank Camacho plus 115.
Torres KO round 1.
Same. Chikagin minus 165, Hebus plus 145. There's somebody in the chat right now who's very confident Hebus is going to go out and submit Katlyn Chikagin in the first round, by the way.
In the first round?
Yeah.
That is, I mean, I love the confidence. You should go place a bet on that because Hebus to win by submission in round 1 is plus 1,600. So it wouldn't be the most stunning thing to me, but I'd be pretty surprised. I think Hebus does have a path to victory. I just don't like her chances to do it because she's so much smaller than Chikagin. In that fight, I obviously have Chikagin by decision. I mentioned it earlier.
Biggest favorite on the main card is Davy Grant minus.
Do you also have Chikagin by decision?
Oh yeah. I mean, I shouldn't even ask that question.
So Davy far, Grant we are lockstep. By the way, all of our predictions thus far are identical.
Davy Grant minus 280, Louis Smolka plus 225.
I have Grant KO round 2.
Same. Ryan Spann plus 190, Ion Cutelaba minus 235.
Cutelaba KO round 1, which I think you also have.
Correct. And I believe our main event pick is
Rakic by decision.
Plus 170. Rakic by decision. Minus 200. What's the line on Rakic by decision? I think do we have everything? Like literally everything exactly the same?
All of our main card picks are identical. I don't know what our undercards. By the way, Rakic by decision's only plus 200. By KO TKO is plus 180, so that they aren't giving him much of a sub chance. Now I want to find this out. What are your undercard picks, Mike? Just because I want to see how if we are identical on the Araujo Lee fight. I think you pick Lee.
Maximoff decision.
Yep.
Tyra submission round 2.
I have Tyra decision.
Hill decision.
Hill decision.
Patrick submission round 2.
I went Johnson KO round 2, but I like your pick better.
Lee decision.
Araujo decision. So we do have some differentiators, but we have 8 of the same bets of identical picks.
I'm piggybacking you the whole way.
All
right. We are done. Andre Petroski, Nick Maximoff about to be introduced. They're about to fight. Nick Maximoff, a heavy favorite, closing at minus 365. Plus 280 on Andre Petroski. Maybe Nate Diaz in the building. I don't know. If he is, we will certainly see him on screen, but we will be back after the festivities. Jose is in the building right now, so you will get post-fight scrums from Jose on the MMA Fighting YouTube channel. What else is going on? We'll have the press conference streamed live when it's all said and done with the winners and tastemakers from the main card, winner of the main event, etc. And then we'll have a post-fight show afterwards. So drink some coffee. It's going to be a long night, my friends, and we are here for you. So for Jed, I am Mike. Peace out, everybody. We'll see you later on tonight.
Love you guys.